educate the dispossessed. 5 boys rescued from a cave hold their first press conference. Former U.S. President Barack Obama recalls how Nelson Mandela inspired him as a young man. Forest fire threatens California's fabled Yosemite. Plus, Anime Expo 2018 draws thousands of Japanese pop culture fans. Hello everyone, I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmot bringing you stories from around the globe. And this is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Britain's Theresa May answers her final Prime Minister's questions before Parliament goes into recess for the summer, clashing with opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn on the police investigation into the Vote Leave campaign and her government's handling of Brexit.
Will the Prime Minister guarantee that her cabinet ministers will fully cooperate with the police investigation?
The Electoral Commission is an independent regulator accountable to Parliament, not to the government. They have taken steps. They have, as we know, taken steps in relation to the Vote Leave campaign. And I would expect that all those involved and required to do so will give the evidence that is required and give and respond appropriately to any questions that are raised with them.
After 2 years of dither and delay, the government has sunk into a mire of chaos and division. The agreement that was supposed to unite the cabinet led to the cabinet falling apart within 48 hours. And on Monday, the government U-turned to make their own white paper proposals unlawful. Given that the proposals in the white paper are now obsolete, when will the new white paper be published?
But I say to the Leader of the Opposition, there are indeed differences between us on this issue. I will end free movement, he wants to keep it. I want us out of the customs union, he wants us in. I want us out of the single market, he wants us in. I want us to sign our own trade deals, he wants to hand them over to Brussels. I've ruled out a second referendum, he won't. There's no doubt which one of us is respecting the will of the British people and delivering on the vote, and it isn't him.
British Prime Minister Theresa May narrowly survived another crunch Brexit vote in Parliament Tuesday as she struggles to unify her divided party around her strategy for leaving the European Union. The Conservative government defeated an amendment introduced by its own backbench MPs to a future trade policy bill, which would have kept Britain in the customs union with the EU if it fails to agree a free trade deal. If the amendment had passed, it would have thrown May's Brexit strategy into disarray and increased pressure on the already beleaguered leader. Government whips overcame the rebellion by a dozen Tory lawmakers, reportedly issuing last-ditch threats it would prompt a no-confidence vote in the Prime Minister and scrape through by 6 votes, winning by 307 to 301. It was bolstered by the support of 4 pro-Brexit opposition Labour Party MPs. Ministers argue the amendment would put massive restrictions on its ability to forge an independent trade policy after Britain leaves the European Union next March. International Trade Secretary Liam Fox told Parliament the government's future trade bill was an important bill providing continuity and stability. The government lost another less crucial vote on another backbench amendment calling for future participation in the European Medicines Regulatory Network. The entire trade bill passed by 31 votes and now moves to the House of Lords for further scrutiny before returning to the Commons for a final vote. Ravaged by decades of war, Somalia has one of the lowest literacy rates in the world. Successive governments busy managing political crisis and the threat of terrorism have abandoned the field of education. Today, people who have fled their area and live in IDP camps are often not able to send their children to school, but citizen initiatives are changing that. Taking time out from their studies, a group of young student volunteers in Somalia's capital are providing free education to children uprooted from their homes by war and famine. 7 years after hunger and disease killed 250,000 people, and in the midst of an ongoing Islamist insurgency in Somalia, so-called IDP camps. Mogadishu. These squalid villages of makeshift huts for the homeless, called internally displaced people by aid workers, crowd the spaces between buildings and neighborhoods in Mogadishu. They are among the most destitute, landless, penniless, and with little hope for their children's future. But an initiative by some of the city's more fortunate young folk is offering basic literacy and numeracy skills to the displaced youngsters. Most of the volunteers are students at local universities, such as Abdirashid Abdullahi, one of the group's founders.
anaka hadaan maana u awoodin inaan maaragtay dadkaasi wax siino balse kaliya waxaan kaliya u awoodnaa ee tahay inaan wax barno aan soo saarno hogaamiyalkii biri.
Abdullahi said the group's 30 volunteers are teaching 600 pupils aged 6 to 15 in 4 centers at informal settlements around the city.
waxaan rabaa inaan iskuulka aydoon dhigto mustaqbalkayni aan kalkalso noqdo dadka isbitaalka jiifinayan daaweeyo.
Education, like many other state-provided services, has been disrupted by decades of civil war. While private schools and colleges thrive in Mogadishu, they are only an option for the well-off few.
aniga hadda waa ugu horeeyaa ka koobanahay oo ilmahayga ay dhiganayaan dhowr caruur ay ii dhiganayso oon ka badin waa inaan laba caruur kaliya inaan iskuul hadda ii dhameeyaan ayaga naftirkooda cariiri aan ku bixinayo bishooda $20 bishii la qaadanayo wixii dhaadhac kale lagu weydiinayo kuwa sii dheer yihiin kuwa kale waa ka badin waa inaan geeyo iskuul aan wax baro waa yeeliba.
12 Thai boys and their football coach, who were dramatically rescued from a flooded cave, appeared healthy when they appeared before the media for the first time on Wednesday. The Wild Boars team members wore football jerseys when they entered the conference room in Chiang Rai province after being discharged from hospital. They played on a small makeshift pitch for a few minutes before taking their seats. Up next, former U.S. President Barack Obama recalls how Nelson Mandela inspired him as a young man. Forest fire threatens California's fabled Yosemite. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will return in a moment.
The machine.
And I'm reporting here from Gainesville, Florida. Behind me is the Florida Museum of Natural History, home to a butterfly rainforest featuring hundreds of butterflies from across the world. Do you know another place that has sites from across the world? Well, check out Digital Nest on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. And I'm Juan with 25.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave some love by giving it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe here at ABC Digital Nest so you don't miss any of our upcoming features.
ASEAN in Focus. Monday to Friday, 2 to 2:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Former U.S. President Barack Obama recalls how he was inspired by Mandela as a young man. Obama speaks to 200 young people selected from across Africa to attend a 5-day leadership course at Johannesburg Town Hall, hosted by the Obama Foundation.
Most people around the world think of Mandela as an older man with hair like mine. What people, of course, don't recall is that he started as a very young man, your age, trying to liberate his country. He then inspired me, and I got started in my work.
Obama, speaking to 15,000 people at a stadium in Johannesburg on Tuesday, gave an emotional address recalling the wave of hope that washed through hearts all around the world when Mandela was released from jail in 1990. Mandela, who died in 2013, remains a global icon for his long fight against white minority rule and for his message of peace and reconciliation when he was released after 27 years in prison. The former U.S. president met Mandela only briefly in 2005, but gave a eulogy at his funeral, hailing him as the last great liberator of the 20th century. Authorities said Tuesday a vast fire in Northern California has destroyed more than 12,000 acres, left one person dead, and is threatening Yosemite National Park. According to the California firefighting agency CAL FIRE, which also reported that one firefighter died in the operations, the Ferguson fire has been raging in the Sierra Nevada forest since last Friday and was only 5% contained as of Tuesday. Some 1,500 firefighters were mobilized to the affected area, but difficult terrain has hampered their activities and access to the area. The fire has had tremendous fuel in terms of wood from dead trees. 27 million died last year and 62 million the previous one after years of drought, plus leaves and grass dried by intense heat. Evacuations were ordered in several camps and in other areas. CAL FIRE asked people to get ready to flee, given high temperatures forecast for the next few days. The fire forced the closure of a highway and one of the entrances to Yosemite National Park, famous for its ancient giant sequoia trees. Authorities urged tourists to postpone visits to this iconic California tourist spot. In addition to California, the states of Alaska, Colorado, and Idaho were also coping with fires. The season, however, began with less devastation than last year. Anime Expo 2018 in Los Angeles, California draws thousands of Japanese pop culture fans. That's next. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will return shortly.
Eagle Broadcasting Corporation not only provides news and entertainment, but also fulfills its social responsibility through clean-up drives, blood donations, medical mission, a livelihood seminar. Eagle Broadcasting Corporation into its 50th year. Eagle News teams are fair.
Sa impeachment complaint laban kay Supreme Court Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, ang ilang maestra.
Ang rekomendasyon na makasuhan ang mga sangkot kasama na ang mga opisyal ng customs.
Hardworking.
Papaunlad ng isang bata na magiging isang future youth leaders.
Dedicated.
Sa nasawi ay dito natagpuan yung bangkay.
Yung kanilang paraan ng pag-aalaga ng mga may sakit na leprosy noong unang panahon.
Committed to public service.
ang chairmanship ng ASEAN sa bansang Singapore.
Marami yung mga biktima ng mga nawawala.
Mambahan ng Bureau of Customs na nasa merkado na yung mga pinaging produkto.
Sa kapila ng mga kilos protesta na nanatiling
dahil
payapa.
sa mabilis na pagresponde ng mga pamatay-sunog, ang apoy mabilis na
nakaroon ng equal opportunity ang ibang mga kababaihan.
Ng mga kabataan at ipinakita sa pamagitan ng kanilang mga likha.
Nanatiling kulang pa rin ang tubig para sa irigasyon, para sa pagtatanim ng ating mga kababayang magsasaka.
As we live in interesting times.
Letters and Music, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 1:00 hanggang 2:00 ng hapon.
This is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmot. EBC's June Reynoso and Diane Paras take us to the largest anime convention in Los Angeles, California to date, celebrating Japanese pop culture with anime, manga, and cosplay. Take a look.
Anime Expo is the largest celebration of anime, manga, and Japanese pop culture here in Los Angeles.
With over 15 premieres, 497 artists, and 450 exhibitors, this year's Anime Expo is the biggest yet. Let's go check it out.
Now on its 27th year, the Anime Expo continues to draw large crowds by offering many activities, booths, and attractions for their attendees.
I've seen a lot of cosplay people. There's definitely more people here than in other conventions I went to. And because of the way how everything is set up, like the booths and the artist alley, it looks more official, looks more well done than the other conventions. Yes, more legit.
Through the exploration of the world of anime, attendees along with their friends and family experience the spectacle of Japanese pop culture.
My favorite thing about Anime Expo is just enjoying the environment with people who love anime and just, you know, meeting new people, having fun with friends and stuff like that.
One of the most amazing experiences that you can have at Anime Expo 2018 is that whether you're interested in reading manga or watching anime, you can find a wide range of people who you can network with and meet.
Do you watch anime a lot?
I do sometimes.
Which one would you prefer, anime or manga?
That's a tough one. Because sometimes the art style and the music in anime are really well, but I know manga, like the story is more developed, so it's really hard. It's a half-half for me.
What is the anime you're currently watching right now?
Right now, I'm watching Golden Kamui. It's about there's a buried treasure lost somewhere, and the treasure map is tattooed on prisoners, and they gotta capture the prisoners to find the treasure again.
Oh, that is very interesting.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not watching anime as much as before. I'm more like reading manga. The manga I've been reading is Tokyo Ghoul and manga called Jellyfish.
So if you're one who enjoys cosplaying, the Japanese culture, or are just very interested in the anime world, the Anime Expo is the right place for you.
We had so much fun today, from the Maid Cafe to all the exhibits, yummy food, and to be surrounded by all the people who love anime and Japanese pop culture.
This is definitely a one-of-a-kind experience. Reporting from Anime Expo here in Los Angeles,
I'm June Reynoso.
I'm Diane Paras,
and
we are one with 25.
Domo arigatou gozaimasu. That is today's Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Join us tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.ph and eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenewsph. Thank you for watching. I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmot, always one with 25.